Hello, Internet. We're on another episode of Reasonably Hyped on this edition of the podcast. On a short pod, I'm Carlos Macias, and joining me on the other side is the co host here, Deo Blas. Thank you for joining me again, sir.
Thanks for having me.
I did realize I listened back to the last couple episodes that we did, and I was like, I gotta let this guy talk. I gotta let him answer my questions, so I apologize for that. For this one, look, we're talking about the big thing that Nintendo dropped. They dropped news of the $350 Nintendo Switch OLED model. It's dropping. So I'll drop the facts and then I'll get your reaction from it. All right. So it's a $350 OLED model. It's dropping October 8th. It's gonna be out alongside Metroid Dread. So both of those games come out, or the game and the system comes out at the same day. You'll be able to play up to 1080p, so no 4K as was predicted beforehand. It's gonna have a 7-inch OLED screen. If you guys looked at the bezel, it's nice and thinner on the sides. The bezel isn't as pronounced. The battery life is the same. It's gonna have 64 gigabyte internal storage, and the most exciting part, I know you're excited about this, Dale, is that it's gonna have a wired LAN port. So that's the biggest thing. No boost in power. It's What do you think, man? What do you think? What was your quick reaction of the as soon as you heard about
Like
this thing?
I was okay with it if it was gonna like replace the existing SKU, which is like the model that launched back in 2017.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then they priced it like $50 more than that, right? So it's like
Yeah.
350 right now. It's at
Mm-hmm.
MSRP.
Yeah.
But there's technically no upgrades for it
Yeah.
other than like, the screen itself. Like the portability of it has been upgraded. Like the
Yeah.
screen has been 7 inches, and everything. But as far as like a home console thing, there's nothing really that different.
Now, do
And
you buy into the idea that they're kind of testing the waters a little bit? They're kind of so the original is 300, then you got the slim version at 200. So the rumors honestly were before this drop, and we got some official word here, was that we're getting a Switch Pro. It's gonna be better. It's gonna the better chip. It's gonna be more powerful, and it's gonna be able to run up to 4K. That was the idea. Now I think and people were like, "What?" That there was some confusion as to, well, that's the one we're supposed to be getting, and Nintendo was like, "No, it's just a quick refresh." So, do you think maybe they're just like, "Okay, let's see if people are willing to go to 350 here," and then in a couple years, as they've done before with their portables, in a couple years, we're gonna drop the actual Switch 2 with more power, more
yeah,
juice.
that's what I feel like is going on right now. They honestly, with how many Switch consoles they sell every single month, like it's so funny because like the console wars are ridiculous. Like
Mm.
PlayStation fanboys and Xbox fanboys, they fight with numbers for like how much
Yeah,
did you sell, blah blah. It's like nothing compared to how much the Switch sells like every single month.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like Nintendo ain't hurting for
Yeah,
anything
you
for
bring
the
up
for
a
console numbers,
you bring up a very good point, man. Because this is one of those things where like, who is this for? And
Yeah.
this is not
Mhm.
necessarily for hardcore gamers. I don't know about you, but for me, I probably use my Switch the least, and I kind of carry it around with me
Same.
everywhere. I take it to work, and I'm like, if I get a couple moments here,
Yeah.
and it's a great system. It's a great portable. I honestly wish we just had Vita 2 with trophy support because I'd rather be getting
Yeah.
down with that. Um,
Mhm.
but it definitely is like, who is this for? And I think it's definitely for those people that I think I saw some of the numbers, and it is getting a like big reaction as far as online plays and views and all that. But I think it's for those people that play portably, and they're like, I do want a bigger
Yeah.
screen. I do want a
Yeah.
prettier screen. I don't necessarily care about even hooking it up to the dock, but Nintendo will sell it to you for a higher price, so they got to justify it with the dock. It's dockable.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
think.
I've also seen people that like don't own currently a Switch. They're really excited about this
Mhm.
version.
Yeah.
That like a lot of them that either traded their Switches in for like a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X like a few months ago. They're like, oh, I still want to play a few Switch games, which are like coming out this next coming months, like Zelda and Metroid. So they're like, man, like it'd be nice to have like a really, a slightly upgraded Switch than what they
Yeah,
used to have
yeah,
before.
and
So
the
they're looking forward
OLED.
to it.
I don't know if you've noticed. I believe I tweeted this out earlier, but I was talking about how we do have clear examples of a portable having an OLED screen versus an
Yeah.
LCD screen. With the original Vita, it came out as an OLED screen. That thing's beautiful, man.
Oh my God.
And
Yeah. Like.
somewhere hanging around. So you got a beautiful. There you go. There you go.
First gen,
So
man.
I do have the first gen, and I don't know if you guys have listened to Salient Points. I think we've talked about it with me and Dalen. He says that I took his second generation one from him. It's like, no, man, you were gonna give it to GameStop. I just, instead of GameStop, sell
You
it to me.
saved it.
Yeah, I
You saved
saved
the
it. I
victory.
saved it from that pit of gaming
Hmm.
hell or whatever it is. But I honestly look. So the OLED, you can tell a difference. It does look prettier.
Yeah.
The games do
Yeah.
look prettier. But I did try the LCD version of the Vita, and I was like, oh, okay, this is good. This is reasonable. So it's kind of Nintendo going backwards, right? Probably Sony did that to kind of save a couple bucks and to make it a little cheaper, be a little more aggressive with pricing. So Nintendo, this is a way to kind of go the other direction, but I think they're definitely going to test it, right? As far as the wired LAN port, do you feel like that's kind of a big deal? I know a lot of people complained about it, right? It's like they're figuring out how to get
Yeah.
wired.
Because the Switch isn't my main like the only time I would really need a wired connection is for like competitive play. So if I'm
Mm.
playing like fighting games or like first person shooters, I know like a lot of kids that play Fortnite on there would
Yeah.
probably benefit from it, but
And
like I
could have
don't play
benefited
Fortnite,
from
you
a
know?
boost in power, to be honest. I know from some of my friends,
Yeah.
they're like, what
Yeah.
they can barely run Fortnite. It can barely run this or whatever it is. So I think it actually could have benefited from some boost in power as well.
Totally,
Um,
totally.
but
Uh,
yeah, man. I mean,
like the DLSS thing, like if they had a way to combine DLSS technology from like NVIDIA type of stuff, because the chips are already NVIDIA chips.
mhm,
The chip that's inside of a Switch is the same architecture. So if they could,
yeah.
combine those things, you could
Ooh.
happen.
I lost you a little bit, but I hope
Oh
I
yeah,
hope you went through. We cut down a little bit, but yeah, you were saying. So I mean, the chip in the Switch. I mean, it's basically kind of what is that
you froze like
the
a little bit. Yeah,
Oh, I hope we're
the NVIDIA
recording through.
Tegra.
I might have to get the audio going through it. But yeah, it was like the Nvidia Shield, right? It's kind of what that
Yeah.
is, right? It's kind of
Hmm.
like that's my idea of the Switch. They just kind of made it happen some more. But anyways, are you grabbing this thing, man? We'll end it on that. Are you grabbing this
Hell
thing or no?
no,
Okay, I
no,
like it. I like it. I like that.
no,
Um,
no. Honestly, like I'll save my money. I'll save it for like an actual like big upgrade. If once
yeah,
they go to like if Nintendo ever does 4K, which they don't really have to, they've always
yeah.
lagged behind in like technology wise. They never relied on like, the newest, so that they don't ever have to use that
Yeah,
as
and it's
part of
been
their
a
stuff.
thing since the very beginning, right? Since
Always,
you're
yeah.
going back to Game Boy and Nintendo, they were
Hmm.
it's kind of like off the shelf parts that they're like, well, we're presenting it to you in an attractive way, in a way that
Right.
everyone can kind of get down with. But yeah, you know what? I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, this is the one I'm waiting for. And you know what? Maybe I'm not as excited because I'm the person that when the Switch first launched, I did grab it like I grabbed two of them. I got two of them. I
Oh,
had two
yeah.
pre-orders. One of the pre-orders was supposed to go to a friend of mine, and he decided, like, you know what, man, I think he might have gotten it some other way already. So I was like, well, I already have two. Now, if I had one, that it would have been the perfect excuse. So I feel people on that. But otherwise, man, give us the next one in 2 years, right? We're gonna get the actual
All right.
pro one in 2 years, right? And then we'll
Right.
get down with that. All right. Well, that's been this episode of Reasonably Hyped. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and stay tuned for the next one. I think. Thank you for joining me, Deo.
Thanks a bunch. Thank you.